Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surviving UX podcast. We are here for you. I am Meg Kramer, and my co-host is Jessamyn Edwards. Jessamyn, hello. It seems like it's
Hello.
been a couple weeks since we've chatted. We recorded like weekly in September, and it felt like I got to talk to you so often,
Yeah,
and now it feels like I have no idea what's going on with your
I
life.
know. I barely know you anymore. Well, we have plenty to catch up on,
Mhm.
personal and professional. I think
Yeah.
this has been like heads down time, honestly, at work for me, and I think for a lot of people. The
Mhm.
fall is like when people get sort of serious because the holidays are coming up, and so everyone wants to get something out the door so that they can
Yeah.
enjoy their holidays.
Mhm.
And so people are really trying to put their
Yeah.
foot on the gas and get something going.
A lot of people have compensation tied to certain deliverables within certain time
Mm,
frames, and perhaps
hmm
they are motivated to try to get that compensation before the end of the year, before going off for the
Yes,
holiday.
exactly.
Well, um, I had something happen since we last talked, which was I had a pretty substantial like eye problem, so I had to go to the emergency eye doctor.
Oh no.
Yeah, apparently my eye doctor does not do like emergencies. So like I called them and they I was like, my eye, can I come in? Like,
Ouch.
can I please come in? I've been seeing this guy for a really long time. And they're like, actually, no, we
They're like,
only,
this is a lens crafter.
yeah, basically they're like, you need to go somewhere else. So I went to a new person. They got me in right away, which was really lovely, out of network or whatever. So I just had to pay. But
Ugh.
I was in I mean, I thought something was really wrong. So I thought something was really wrong. And the eye doctor like peers into my eyes and does all of his little doodads and all this other stuff. And and I'm a little concerned that something is really wrong. And
Oh
and
man.
he's kind of like he like kind of pushes his chair back and he gives me my glasses back because uh for people who are not don't have great vision, your eye exam is done with your corrective lenses off. And so like you can't see the room, you can't see the doctor. It's very blurry. It's very it's just another aspect of what it's like when you don't have good vision. But anyway, he gives me my glasses back, things come into view, and he kind of looks at me and he said, well, the good news is that there's nothing like terribly wrong. You haven't damaged your eye in some irreversible way, and your vision is fine.
Mm.
Like you're seeing just fine. And he said, but the thing is you're at the beginning of the end of wearing contacts. Your eyes are just getting too old.
Ooh.
And I was like,
Ooh.
oh, what?
Ouch. Oh gosh.
So of course I
Yikes.
can wear my glasses for the rest of my life, and many people do. And like I feel like the UX profession is like half people that wear glasses and half people that don't. So I'm in good
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
but I heavily rely because my prescription's so bad. I heavily rely on wearing contacts for vision. And so to hear that
Mm.
like basically your eyeballs are getting old, a thing I
Oh
kind of
boy.
like obviously knew our whole bodies are getting old,
Mm.
but didn't really think that maybe they would be getting older and I wouldn't be able to have the kind of vision that I need to do and or that I've had for so long. And I wonder how that's going to affect the job that I need to do.
Right. I mean, as a designer, and you're parked in front of a screen all day
Mm-hmm.
long, right? Like you need your eyes to function clearly. And I think this is one of the things that it doesn't get talked about enough, but how hard desk jobs and computer jobs are on your body, that years and years of sitting and staring at screens is not really good for us. And it feels like that's something that doesn't really get acknowledged or talked about enough. And you know, the recommendations of like, hey, you should be out taking breaks and exercising every day. And you
Mm-hmm.
should be, people have those wrist, bands that buzz every 15 minutes to make them get up. I'm like, who needs that? I want to get up every 5 minutes. But I just think like this is one of those like risks of the job. of being in like an environment where you have to focus for hours at a time and you can't just get up and waltz around. And I really do think like we pay a price for it. We really
Yeah.
do.
Like I have a couple of thoughts on this. One is that at my old job, at my old desk in that job, I had a window, like a seat near the window. It was the perfect desk. My back was turned to everyone else in the open office space. And I was right in front of the window. So I could do that thing where it's like if you're at the computer or whatever, I don't remember what it is, but it's like for every 20 minutes you're staring at your computer, like stare at something a long distance away for, I don't know, 2 minutes or whatever. And so I could do things like that. And then they told me I had to move my desk. And
Oh boy.
I wanted to make the argument that like this isn't good for me. Like it's not good for me to sit in the middle of the bullpen. Like I want to be on the perimeter,
Yeah.
primarily to say like because of my eyes. And the only reason I didn't try to make that argument was because that's true for everyone. And so it would be like me being like, oh, hey, I have like a special situation where you need to accommodate me more over than anyone else. And it just kind of it made me think more like, oh, it's your turn to sit in the middle and not have those like far off distant focal points. Which then leads me to say that like we're going to probably reorganize my home office once Emmett, my son, starts going to daycare, and just like for a better setup. But it's going to move my desk into like a corner away from the window. And again, it's like it's better for all the reasons, except for now I'm going to be in a corner instead of next to a window. And so it's kind of that trade-off of is it worth it? How much is your physical health that you can't quite like quantify right now? We don't
Oh
really
yeah.
know what damage we're doing right now. How much is it worth it to optimize for other things? So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
fascinating, and I'm
yeah.
definitely now more like I'm trying right now in my chair to sit up straight and not cross my legs and like do all the
I'm
things.
hunching and crossing my legs as we speak.
Oh, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better.
Um, what's
Anyway.
funny is that you talk about proximity and like working next to other people
Hmm.
and being back in the office a couple days a week now. I now have people that are on my team that are in the office with me.
Oh.
And what's hilarious is that I was chatting with someone. I was like, well, where do you guys sit? And they said, well, I try to kind of find like a corner away from everybody. And I was like,
Hmm.
I do the same thing. I don't want to sit
Hmm.
right next to somebody. It almost feels like if you're on like a empty bus and there's one
Hmm.
person sitting, you don't go sit next to that person. You space it out.
Right,
And
right.
I came in
Especially
today.
post
Yeah,
COVID, you don't
right.
want to
Nobody
be.
wants up and yeah, exactly. They don't want to hear us. They don't want to smell us. It like nobody wants to be next to somebody if they can help it. And I absolutely like we space out and yeah, it feels almost unnatural. Think about like the Office sitcom. Could you imagine that today? Everyone crammed in a room together like that, like you
Mhm.
mentioned the bullpen. And I'm thinking, yeah, the setups that we had in the past where everyone's elbow to elbow, that would
Mhm.
not fly today. People would be
Mhm.
like, no way. I
Mhm.
don't want to. I read online, people are like, I sat down at the desk at work and there's nail clippings on this desk and I feel like I'm gonna lose it. And I'm like, yep. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want any trace of humanity. When I sit down on the desk, the first thing I do is get the bleach wipes and I wipe everything down, wipe away any dust or whatever fingerprints or crumbs. And I'm just like, I don't want to know that anyone's ever sat here. I want this to be clean like a hotel room.
Mhm.
And, and I do move around a lot because I'm like, well, if someone's too close to me, I don't want to be up next to them. And I've tried claiming the same desk every day and it ends up being irritating. So I do move around. So yeah, so nothing makes sense anymore. Long story short.
Well, I know we have a topic that you're pretty passionate about to talk
Oh
to
my
today,
gosh.
but it's a news story that maybe somehow I missed or something along those missed when I was just looking at baby pictures on Instagram for hours at a
Right.
time. So you're gonna have to catch me up. Tell me a little bit of
Okay.
backstory about
So
what you want to talk about.
So basically, in the news, you guys may have been keeping tabs on this story, but a lot of UX designers out there, myself included, have worked at some point on crypto. And cryptocurrency, for so long has been this big promise of innovation and wealth and, basically the next big thing in databases. And then it has, over the past, let's say, couple of years, started to implode. And a lot of those promises or things people were super excited about have just collapsed under the weight
Mm-hmm.
of, these founders that turn out to just be total shysters. So the story that I've been enjoying very much is the fall of I think it's FTX, and I believe it's called Alameda. And what this founder is, his name is Bankman Fried. And what is wonderful about this story is that, basically he's a math whiz and his girlfriend, um, her name is Ellison, has like basically worked together on this startup, on this crypto, business. And he, hired her and they had a relationship, romantic relationship. And now, since he's been accused of massive fraud and stealing millions of dollars from the investors in the company,
Mm-hmm.
and she is taking the witness stand against him. And there's nothing like the idea of getting your day in court against
Mm-hmm.
someone who wronged you. And even better, someone you were in a relationship with that behaved badly. And I think what I've enjoyed so much about this is that so many people have the experience of being in bad relationships or having bad relationships, and you never really get that moment of like revenge or vengeance. You end up having to do a lot of work to like let it all go and be like, oh, I hate what they said to me, or I hate how they behave, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna have to let that go and move forward and get some closure. But in this wonderful turn of events, this woman has all of her notes, her texts, phone calls have been brought in as evidence against him. And she has shared things in court, like lists of things Sam is freaking out about, which is a list of, like, I guess, problems he was having. So
Mm-hmm.
wonderful stuff like this has come in as evidence. And I just feel like this is a moment for women everywhere to kind of sit back and enjoy, to watch things, unfold here. But all these wonderful, horrible things that he did have are now in the news every day. So I'm loving it.
It reminds me in some ways uh very not very similar, but it has a lot of the same tones of the Theranos
Oh, yes.
debacle and Elizabeth Holmes and her relationship with her business partner and how they were on and off again and how they I don't know if they testified against each other, but it was definitely at the end they were not not sticking up for each other for sure and placing blame on the other. And it's just fascinating. And
Yeah.
it makes me wonder, like, when did Ellison realize what was happening in terms of having this collection, this archive of information that might be useful. Like if
Yeah.
you are at a company or you're doing your work, like when does that kind of like switch happen in your brain where you are feeling so off about something that you
Mm-hmm.
start really thinking about recording or getting things in
Mm.
a way that can be archived instead of verbal communication or
Yes.
things that can't be captured. And it does make me wonder, like, what triggers that in people's minds? And maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this case very well, but like maybe it was at the very end. Maybe she just had like a historical records and was so thankful for it. But
Yeah.
also there could have been a moment during during everything where it started to be like, you know what? I think I need more um I think I need more to capture and record because I think this is going to be something that I'm going to need in the
Yeah.
future.
Well, I have to say this. I think there is a lot of power in documenting what goes on, and for good and bad. So, one of the things I feel like I've learned this year is that it's so important to record what you do, the projects that you work on, the impact that you have. And, did you work on something that has a lot of usage? Do you work on something that makes a lot of money? Did you talk to a lot of people? Did you test with a lot of people? Like, how many screens were in your design? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never did, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing it only because I took those accounting classes.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, like it
What
was, I don't
what was
know.
it? Yeah, what kind of did you learn there that made you think about it that way?
Well, they had this section on non-financial, what did they call it? It was like non-financial metrics. And they were talking about how businesses, but every business has like a bottom line, right? And how much revenue versus how much overhead.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your profit look like? But they also talked about other indicators of success or of health for a business that were
Mm-hmm.
non-financial. So, what's your customer satisfaction look like? Or, like customer sentiment, or what's your employee turnover rate?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that you can monitor and keep track of. So that kind of went into it for me because I was like, well, if I count up how many, projects I did or how long those projects took, like that could be a win. And then I think on the converse, though, what I have also seen is that if someone, this is, I am speaking from experience, unfortunately, but if someone treats you poorly at work, or a coworker behaves badly at work, the act of writing that down and sharing it is extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen evidence used against people, and I have seen it also used for them. So you can move up or move out based on what other people say about you. And if it's written,
Mm-hmm.
it's much different than I'm sitting here chatting with you about it over lunch. If
Yeah.
it's written down and it's sent around, it can really have an impact. So I think that, when I read this trial and I, like, for example, some of the quotes in here, this guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, yelled at Caroline Ellison for not hedging Alameda's investments, which caused her to cry. And then eventually he yelled at her to shut the F up, Caroline Ellison said. So, these are like moments, right, where if you're just in a room at the office, and you're having a fight or you're having a disagreement and someone is behaving toxic, right? Like that's something that honestly a lot of people would be very eager to make disappear, or to
Mm-hmm.
explain away, or to excuse or deny that it happened. But the fact that, you know, her she recalls these events, she wrote them down, and then she delivered them as testimony in a court case. Telling someone to shut the F up is not a crime, but it is like sort of a piece of evidence in terms of like the behavior and the culture, and the fact that she's showing like, oh, I couldn't just act however I wanted at this job. I was being directed to do these things and commit these crimes. And this was the environment that I was in. This is how my boss behaved toward me. So I'm not responsible for these or accountable for these because it wasn't my choice. I had to do them because, this is how toxic my work was. And I think that's super important for everybody to know, because I do see online, like if I go on Blind, I see every few days somebody posting about a toxic manager, a toxic coworker,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And they think, what do I do? What do I do? And people say, don't talk to HR, they're not your friend. They're just there to protect the company. But I still think it's important for people to remember that documenting stuff can be really powerful, even if, it doesn't go up to HR, or even if it doesn't, you don't get your day in court. But writing down what somebody did, because I think when you go through the trauma of dealing with toxic coworkers, sometimes, I don't know about you, Meg, but I've had it where my mind wants to erase it. My mind wants to erase the details so that I
Mm,
can cope. And
yeah.
I sort of forget. I remember the feeling, but I don't remember the action.
Yeah.
And I had one person in particular several years ago that I worked with that I'm going to call just a bully. They were just a bully. And so I had a couple of interactions with them where I'd be in tears afterwards. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually had this, probably, I can think of 4 or 5 different bullies I've had through my career. And I started taking notes on what they did and the
Mm-hmm.
conversations we'd have and the phrases that we'd use,
Mm-hmm.
the emails or whatever it was. And I sent it to my manager. And it helped me. It
Yeah.
helped me. So yeah.
I want to let our listeners know that, like, I don't think, Jessamyn, you are alone in this. I have had the pretty much like the exact same experiences. Obviously, we're a data set of two, but the fact that this has happened, and we know it happens to our other colleagues. It happens to other people we know as well. The what you're talking about suppressing what happened because you feel shame, hopefully that's not too far of a word, definitely isn't for me. Shame around, what happened, or you not living up to expectations, or however that person made you feel. It is really true that you can start to forget, or start to just want that experience to go away, and
Mm-hmm.
you for your own sanity, for your own safety, you try to forget and move on. Another thing, so I definitely want listeners to feel that if they're going through something like this, it's not just them. It really
Yeah.
isn't. The other thing I wanted to say about this trial is, when we started talking about this as a topic, and it did remind me of the Theranos situation and Elizabeth Holmes's trial. I just remembered how incredibly fired up I got. I mean, I would say things about her sentencing that, like, I I mean, I really, really badly, like in my visceral heart,
Yeah.
wanted her to go away for a very long time. And I feel
Right.
the same about this dude as well. And I, I don't, it's weird because they haven't committed murder. They haven't, they haven't,
Right.
like, done some of the absolutely horrific things that we see in the news all the
Violent.
time,
Yeah.
gun
Mm-hmm.
violence, all that kind of stuff. And yet my, like, response is so extreme in terms of the justice I want to be served
Yeah.
here. And I wonder why that is. Is it just because I've been in tech environments, and I know what it's like to be around people, who
Yeah.
are deceitful, or who are trying to make one thing look one way, or who believe in themselves so much,
Yeah.
in such a hubristic fashion, that
Yeah.
I'm so sensitive to it. What do you think it is?
I think this is the thing, is that what's especially disgusting about crypto is how it was marketed to the masses as a smart investment.
Hmm.
And I can't tell you, somebody said to me the other day, they're like, oh, everybody's husband is buying crypto and it's causing all this marital distress.
Mhm.
among couples, because you think about, you know, you have so many investing years, right? You start working in your
Mhm.
20s, you start socking things away, and then you have about, let's say 40 years of working until you start to retire in your 60s. And then you're left with whatever you've saved in whatever financial instrument it's in. And if you take money, your family's money, and you put it in these worthless investments,
Mhm.
you're basically robbing from the entire family, and you're creating poverty. And it's so sad
Mhm.
because Americans like have no choice but to invest in order to protect themselves and take care of themselves in retirement. And, having being financially solvent in retirement is a huge issue in this country. And so many people are not. And there is
Mhm.
not, there's obviously Social Security, but that's always at risk. And
Right.
so,
Yeah. It's
you're thinking
Social
about,
Security exists
yeah,
right now. Will it exist when
right.
you and I retire?
Gosh, right. And so I think that's what's so pernicious about it is it's not like the rich stealing from the rich. I mean, these are families, these are people that took their hard-earned dollars, and instead of putting them into actual investments or, God forbid, a savings account, they put it into this crypto exchange where it disappeared. And it was on a giant scale of millions and millions, if not billions of dollars. And the thing that's so sickening about it is that, this guy had the image, he had the look of a tech, um, wonderkind, just
Yeah.
like Elizabeth Theranos. And so he was held up as some sort of a brilliant mind and an example of this person's smarter than me. I should trust them. They've got, they know better than me. And they're just a worthless scam artist, no, but it doesn't matter how smart they are. And it's horrible.
Yeah. And I
So,
know I'm
yeah.
saying this in hindsight, but like I look at this kid and I call him a kid because he is significantly younger than me. And I'm like, really? That's who you're gonna put your money in? All right. Okay. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
distrustful of all the tech bros.
Right.
Ugh.
Right. Well,
All
Elizabeth
right.
Theranos was young as well, right? She was in her 20s. And
19. I mean, she was
okay.
like she was you Wonderkin is exactly the right term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and maybe I don't know, maybe if I had been paying attention back, when she first started out, maybe I would have been duped, but I don't know.
Gosh.
I have a significant level of skepticism with this industry for sure.
Do you have any investment advice for us, Meg? Any hot investments you would recommend to us
Odd
right now?
investments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I actually, in the month of October, invested in my first cryptocurrency as a joke.
Oh my gosh.
I invested $10, partially because I wanted to just see how I could do it within the current financial institutions that I participate in. Like I was kind of just
Okay.
messing around and seeing what I could do, and I felt like $10 wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
That bad of an investment. And it's up since I invested
All right.
$2.48. So
Oh, well,
hey,
that's a pretty good
it
return.
actually is a good return, but
24%.
if
Gosh.
you yeah, but if you sell, and I don't really know how any of the taxes and stuff work. So anywho, I guess in the month of October, it was fine to invest in Bitcoin. Um
I noticed
uh
on PayPal recently when I logged into PayPal the other day that they have a crypto section and they want you to buy
yeah.
crypto on PayPal.
Huh.
And I was like, huh, okay, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think somewhere I for the very first time I saw something that was like you can pay for whatever you're buying with crypto. I want to say it was like a Ferrari. Like Ferrari is going to accept crypto to buy a
Oh my
Ferrari. But I'm
gosh.
like, that seems like a bad move on
Yes.
Ferrari's part. It feels like they're just giving cars away.
Good
I
luck,
don't know.
Ferrari. I have seen crypto mentioned on several of my favorite reality shows.
Uh-huh.
One was called L'Agence. It's a French real estate show. and they bought a Paris apartment with crypto.
Uh,
And then the other was, of course, our favorite Dubai Bling, where these women's sons were investing in crypto. And I thought, my God, it just, you might as well just take paper money and light it on fire. So I just have zero faith in this product, frankly. And yeah, so my investment, I want to invest in snacks. I read this article recently that said that snacks are the most profitable of all food sales.
mhm,
And now with Wegovy and what are those, appetite suppressant drugs, people are going to
mhm,
be eating differently because they won't have as much of an appetite. So they're going to be marketing snacks toward these people who don't want to eat so much,
mm.
and they'll probably pay more for them. And so I thought, okay, we're going to get in on the snacks.
All right,
But
you
that's
invest in snacks and
yeah.
let us know how it goes.
All right. Well, thank you, Meg. And listeners, if you want to reach out to us with your problems, you need advice or sympathy for your UX career, write to us at survivingux@gmail.com. Thank you.
See you next time. Surviving UX is hosted and edited by Jessamyn Edwards and Meg Kramer. Our theme music is, among other things, the on-hold music for Cisco Phones, Opus No. 1 by Tim Carlton and Derek Deal. We hope you folks will join us for future episodes, and until then, we wish you good luck in eliminating all traces of humanity from your next hotel desk.